everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of Pixel Perfect Gaming. I am Chris.
And I am Patrick. And on the docket for you guys today, we're going to talk about some April game releases, what couple there are, the whole Epic Store debacle, and then cloud gaming for you guys. Ooh.
Particularly excited about the cloud gaming topic this week. I've been thinking about it all week long since the announcements. And yeah, the April game release is pretty pitiful, honestly. The list is not that exciting.
It's really not. No. I'm surprised there's even a list, and it doesn't just say, like, on the websites that I've looked at, it doesn't just say, like, don't worry about it.
No games that you need to know about. So is there anything on the list that you would be excited for, or you're just kind of looking forward to? I mean, there's nothing on the list that I'm personally going to buy, but there are some that I want to see how they do at least.
Agreed. There's none on there that I'm going to buy. Even if it was on sale, probably wouldn't buy any of them. But I mean, Mortal Kombat 11, you know.
Yeah, another Mortal Kombat. I mean, I'll be interested. That's one I'll be interested to see just how it does. But I don't really
tourneys of it.
Yeah, I'll watch tournament gameplay. I'll probably end up watching YouTube videos of all the fatalities or something like that at some point, just because I want to see what they do and how over the top they are.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
And
there's some good characters. So, I mean, there's some new characters introduced into this one. I know there was a Shaggy meme for a while about trying to get Shaggy from Scooby-Doo into Mortal Kombat 11. So that was fun.
I liked the Shaggy memes. I'm kind of sad that they're gone.
Yeah, I would have liked that. That would have been good. So, I mean, I am looking forward to that. The other one that's on the list that I am interested to see how it goes is Days Gone. Seen a lot about that one for... Has it been like 2 years? I think it's probably been 2 years or so that it got announced at E3. And we've seen a lot of gameplay and a lot of just kind of craziness from it. It's a typical zombie style apocalypse game, it looks like, for the most part. But I'm interested to see how it does.
Wait, I'm sorry. Which dude? My brain shut off so hard right there. Wow. Man, I have not had a space out that hard in a while. All right, so what were you talking about? Days Gone. You're interested in seeing how that one goes. Okay.
Yeah.
What is that one? I don't know what that one is.
So it's like a zombie apocalypse survival. I don't really know a whole lot about it. I know the one guy has a motorcycle, and they were toting how many enemies could be on screen at one time, and the zombies or creatures or whatever they are pretty aggressive and run really quick. So basically not what you would want in a zombie apocalypse is fast zombies.
Is that the one? I think I saw like gameplay footage of this whenever it was first being talked about. I don't know if you've seen the same video, but he's kind of like, you're at what almost looks like a farm or a sawmill.
Yeah, something similar, and they like come flying through. They're just like piling on.
Hordes and hordes of them, yeah.
Stuff. Yeah, and he's just mowing them down. It's like a third-person action art. Like I don't.
That one looks pretty cool.
It looks neat. I mean, I'm not going to throw $60 on it, but I want to see how it does, and maybe later in the year, if it goes on sale, I would consider it. But
I mean, I'm not going to throw like $400 at it myself. So
yeah, since you don't have that
PS4.
I was going to say you don't have that PS4, so yeah, that's a bit of investment. Plus, if you were going to buy a PS4, there are other games that I would recommend over that. So
no, that's the one.
No, I don't think so.
I think so, man. I think like if you're gonna get a PS4, you got to get Days Gone. That's just how it goes. That's how it's always been.
No, that's how it's always been since the launch of PS4. They're like, no, we've got this game we can't tell you about. That's going to be the game. Okay, you got to wait for that.
It's way in the works right now.
Yeah, it's just a concept. We just have sketches of it. We don't actually know what's happening. So, but yeah, those are really the only two games on the list. I mean, I see Shovel Knight Showdown. I've never played Shovel Knight. I've heard great things about it. It just doesn't really appeal to me. There's an Earth Defense Force. I cannot believe that they make those games still. They look so bad. So I'm just kind of confused by it.
Maybe that's like the charm.
It must be. It must be like these are just abysmal. And I love that.
Look how bad our game is. Please play.
Basically, yeah. And then there's Final Fantasy X and X-2 remaster coming to Xbox One and Switch. So if you haven't played Well, I mean, if you haven't played Final Fantasy X, then I highly recommend it if you're an Xbox owner or a Switch
Definitely.
owner. If you have played it, I would still recommend getting it since it's going to be the international edition and there's going to be some fun new boss encounters. So that part's fun. And just for nostalgia. And then you have Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, actually coming out to Xbox One and Switch 2, which is another one I'd recommend if you've never played it.
And while we're on the topic here, we never played Final Fantasy again. Uh,
We haven't. Okay. I don't think
so
it's that we
anyone who
never played it. It's that we just haven't continued it. That's all.
uh, at all, not even close. It hasn't even come up in conversation of like, hey, you wanna? It's just been like no.
I mean, that's fair. Although I've been playing nothing but Warframe for the past couple weeks, so that's a bit of an issue by itself.
Yeah, it's sad that you waste so much time on that shit game.
Ah, and there go my feelings for this episode.
I couldn't help myself. You know what? I'm gonna half apologize for that one. Like I'm a little bit sorry, but not completely.
Now the Zodiac Age. Did you ever play that Final Fantasy?
I don't think so.
So because I think now I can't confirm this. I haven't looked at the pricing, but I don't think they're going to come out at a full $60. I think both the HD remaster for 10 and probably the Zodiac Age are probably going to be $29.99 when they hit stores.
Yeah.
That's something to consider. If you've never played Zodiac Age, I think it's a really good one. It might be one that you would really enjoy. It's a little bit into. Go ahead.
Is there something about it that makes it stand out to you as a really good one, or?
It has the gambit system in this one. So basically, you only play one character at a time, but there's AI rules that you get to dictate for your other party members. So you get to change how they interact. You can switch you can switch between characters during combat if you want, but you can change how the AI of certain people. So you can be like, I want you to focus on healing. I want you to just be aggressive, go ham all the time, no matter what. Or you can set them up to certain conditions. If a certain enemy does something like start silencing people, then you can have someone with AI at the very top to be like, if you see silence, get rid of it immediately, every single time. Stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. And then the story is pretty good. The graphics and just the whole thing, it has monster hunting in it, which was a lot of fun. There's really cool summons in this one, and there's a really cool system called the quickening system, which is like your limit break kind of thing, which is pretty sweet. This one is going to be the international edition, so it's going to be a little bit different than the original one, which again is it's an improvement in my book, because in the original one, everybody was every single job. So eventually, by the time you get to in-game content, everybody had virtually the same stats and everybody could do every single thing. So there was no diversity between who you took really to do anything. Whereas in this one, everyone can only take 2 jobs of, I think, 12 or 15 that are available. So you kind of have to think, it through a little bit more of like, okay, who do I want in my party? What job is best for this player? That type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I like having to think of party composition instead of just
which originally you definitely didn't have to do. And it's not just party, of course there are different weapons geared towards certain people, that kind of thing. So yeah, it definitely puts another level of strategy into it, which is really nice. Apparently that's how they did it in the original version, if I'm not mistaken, but they just, I don't know, when it came to us, they're like, no, we got to dumb it down for those Americans. They don't know what they're doing. They've never seen party composition.
That's fair.
They don't even know how to play JRPGs, so.
Except for that Chris guy.
Yeah, that one guy, he knows. So no, it's a lot of fun. I bought it on PS4 because it came out, I think, last year. I put up a tip video on my YouTube channel, actually, when it came out for people that were getting back into it. And it did pretty well. So I may end up getting it for Switch, honestly, because I'm a sucker for that. I actually think I like that game. I actually think I like that one more than 10.
Really?
Now that I think about it. Yeah, I think I like it more than 10. I like the combat system in 10, but I like the other thing they put into this edition was ×2 and ×4 movement. So you can actually, instead of running really slow, if you're familiar with the game or you know where you're going, you can up it to ×2 or ×4, so you can speed through areas instead of having to like lollygag through them, which I really like.
All right, so maybe I'll look more into it, and yeah.
Something to consider. Yeah, I mean, you have to get Devil May Cry 5 first, though.
Yes.
So
Still no have. Still want.
eventually, yeah. I know it needs to be the first one on the list, and this can be like a later down the road, maybe something to consider. So, although I would like to see it come to computer, ideally.
Well, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. See, part of my issue with buying Devil May Cry, like I'm gonna get it, but do I want to get it for PC or do I want to get it for my Xbox? Because I know my Xbox will run it fine because it's an Xbox. It's just how that works.
Right.
But I don't know if my PC is going to be able to crank it on good settings or not.
Oh, to like really run it full power the way you want to see it.
Exactly.
That would be really frustrating to buy it on PC and it runs at lower performance than it would have ran on your Xbox. Like I would be pretty frustrated.
Right? That's why I'm a little
Honestly,
unsure of what to do.
yeah, I would say if you're unsure, I would just probably go with the Xbox. At least you know it's going to work properly. I haven't read the reviews for it on Steam, so I don't know how it did from a PC standpoint, but
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
so the other game that's actually coming out next month is Dauntless, which I think I only saw on one of the like 5 different lists that I checked for game releases for next month.
That's on the list I'm looking at.
Yeah, it seems to be overlooked on a lot of the lists, though. Like I saw one list that had like maybe 6 games listed, and Dauntless happened to be one of them. But all the others that are 10, 15 games, Dauntless is not on it at all. So I don't know what the deal with that is. I actually had to go to their website to make sure that they're actually releasing next month because I'm like, I don't know who to believe. I don't know what's going on. So I bring that one up specifically because I played closed beta on that one. I think it was about 1.5 years or 2 years ago. So it's now finally coming out.
Give us the low on it. What is it? What to expect? How'd you like it in the closed beta?
So it is a free-to-play monster hunting game. So very similar to, I believe it is Tokido, Ghost or God Eater, and Monster Hunter as the big one that everyone kind of knows. So it's that kind of game where you run around, you upgrade weapons, you go after big monsters, and you kill them kind of thing. Mm-hmm. The free-to-play aspect is really good because obviously it's nice that it's free. The art style is pretty good, and I remember the beta was not terrible. There were so many people trying to log into the beta, and there were so many server issues that the first day was just a nightmare. The second day was fine. There wasn't a lot of content. I think there were maybe like 3 or 4 big raids to really work towards and go after and upgrade some weapons and stuff like that. But then after that, I just didn't play it anymore. So I can't really say what the end game's really going to look like. And most of that is just because I just do not like those kind of games. I've tried Monster Hunter and God Eater and some of those games before, and I just can't do it. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't appeal to me. So,
which honestly surprises me a little bit because I feel like that is a game that, like, if you hadn't told me that, I would honestly kind of assume that game was up your alley.
Given the amount of time I spend grinding to do other kind of stuff in games, yeah, I think that to most people they would probably think, yeah, he probably likes Monster, but there's just some about it that I don't find appealing. I'm not really sure what it is. The good news about Dauntless, though, is, I mean, it's free to play. So if you do like those kind of games, or if you're trying to discover if you do or don't like those kind of games, you can get into this one, and maybe that will help you make a decision. So if you've been on the fence about Monster Hunter but don't want to spend $60, then maybe play Dauntless and see if that kind of appeals to you before you spend $60 and you're like, oh, crap.
Well, bummer. I mean, if it's free, I might give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth trying. I mean, I very well may end up downloading it just to try it out once it comes out, assuming it's it does fairly well. But I don't know. We'll see. I have to. I don't know.
I've always been interested in playing a game like that and never have. So I mean, a free to play one is the perfect opportunity to get my feet wet.
Yeah, because at least you won't have any kind of guilt for the money. I mean, you'll maybe a little bit of guilt for time spent, but I think you would know pretty early on, like, yeah, this is not for me. I'm not going to do this.
Whereas yeah, I know pretty soon if I like a game or not.
Yeah, whereas it's a heavy price to pay to look back and go, wow, I spent $60. I really could have done so much more with that instead of playing this stupid game. Especially if you're me, I have a really bad habit of buying digitally, so obviously I can't return it or trade it in and get any kind of value out of it. So I buy that game digitally and I'm like, oh shit.
Then you're
That's
just
usually how
stuck.
it goes. Yeah, that's what happened last year with Call of Duty World War II. I bought that, hated it immediately, and it was the biggest regret of 2018. Period. Or maybe it was
Really?
2017 actually that came out. I think it was 2017.
You didn't like it that much?
Yeah, it was terrible. The servers were terrible. Philip bought it too, and we played it for maybe a couple days together, and then we never played it again because it was that bad. Like the
Hmm.
gameplay was terrible, the map selection was terrible. It was easily the worst Call of Duty game I've ever played.
Wow.
Yeah,
I haven't
so
played a
don't
Call
buy
of
that
Duty
one.
since Black Ops, I don't think.
That's probably for the best. I mean, the new
Yeah, it
Black
just
Ops
really
wasn't
lost
terrible. I
interest.
bought that, played it for a couple weeks. I really enjoyed it, but I now realize that first person shooter games just do not appeal to me like they once did. So they're probably not really worth the money for me.
I I still enjoy first person shooters. I just think I kind of fell out of the now it's this might sound a little contradictory, but like Call of Duty for me when I play it, like my brain's like, yeah, this should be realistic, but it's not and it's arcadey. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
I don't know. Let's try again.
Alright, okay. So when I play Call of Duties, um arcadey in the sense of like in Apex, like higher time to kills compared to like PUBG with low time to kills because it tries to touch on more realism when you're getting shot, things like that. And I just feel like whenever I play Call of Duty and it's like that army game, like that's what my brain wants, and then that's what it's not that, and it bugs me.
I see. So then you would have a really hard time adjusting to something like Battlefield, which is very much more of a realistic style, but feels kind of arcadey in its own way. Call of Duty definitely feels a little bit more arcadey with some of the ridiculous crap they put in it, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I used to love them.
I mean,
I
I liked
honestly,
the original one. I liked Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2, and then Black Ops was kind of when I started to fall off the deep end with it and not really like it. And then since then, it's been really hard to reel me back in. I don't really buy them anymore unless I know there's going to be people to play it with, and even then, I don't know, it's tough for
yeah.
me to do.
Okay, well, look, moral of the story here. Fuck Call of Duty. Anyways.
Woo! Wow. Well, moral of the story, maybe Activision is more so the issue than anything else. But that's I don't know. I think we have plenty of episodes already talking shit on Activision, so maybe we should talk shit about Epic instead.
All right, do it.
And that's our
Talk
segue.
that shit.
So I'd
I
sent
like
you
it.
I'd sent you a video earlier this week about how Epic's being accused of basically getting into Steam files and taking friend information and gameplay information out of Steam and then sending it to their servers and using it for who knows what exactly. Steam commented on it and said, it's supposed to be private data for the local machine. It's not meant to be, accessed by third party applications or anything like that. So they're not particularly thrilled about it, which is understandable. The community is not particularly thrilled about it, that Epic is digging through files that that the user hasn't given them permission to do, because no one's given over permission. There hasn't been, even if you don't import your Steam friends, they're getting this information. They're digging through. They're using their launcher to dig and find this information out regardless. And I think the worst part was on Reddit, someone picked it apart of as far as what files are being dug into, what kind of information they're taking, and all that kind of stuff. And then some representative from Epic, I don't know if he's the CEO or what his position is. I didn't look because I didn't care, but his name's Tim, I think. I don't, that might even be wrong actually, but I think his name's Tim. But anyway, basically he was talking about how you're right, we shouldn't be doing this, without permission, that kind of stuff. And he at the very end was like, now that it's at the forefront, we're going to fix it, which basically was like, you called us, it's a no, so we'll take care of it.
Hey guys, didn't think you'd catch us, so we're sorry, and I guess we'll stop now.
Basically, which I was like, there's already enough bad press around Epic and their game store with all the exclusivity deals that people are not happy with, and the
Uh-huh.
lack of features between Steam and Epic, which I could care less about some of that stuff. That to me, it was more like I'm fine with the competition. I do want to see some competitiveness, and if exclusive content means better deals for me as a consumer, then I can get behind that. But then there are issues with their privacy policies. And then now stuff like this, knowing that they're digging through files for information that they have no business accessing. I'm like, well, I feel a little differently now. I don't like that.
Well, they did it to themselves. At least it's like a legitimate reason to not like a company, not the things that people were upset about before. They don't have a review system. I hate them.
I mean, I could understand why they would want the reviews, and I want the review system, but for me, it wasn't like I'm not gonna turn away another source for gaming content, especially if it has games that I really want that I can't get anywhere else, just because they don't have a review system. I'll pull the trigger on certain things if I feel like it's going to be good enough or I'm really going to enjoy it. Yeah, I am going to hesitate more to pull the trigger on certain games if I don't see a review for it. Like there's been a game on the Epic Store that I've considered probably a dozen to maybe 24 times, but I haven't pulled the trigger because there are no reviews on Epic and I just don't really want to dig that hard to find it. So I'm just kind of like, meh, I'll keep that money, I guess.
Well, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'm a little the opposite. Like, I don't mind Googling up a review. Like, even if I'm on Steam and I see reviews, a lot of times I'll still look up a video review. I like to hear people actually talk about it instead of just reading it myself.
Mm-hmm. I tend to, it kind of depends on the game to an extent, but also kind of what the quality of the reviews are on Steam, because you get a mixed bag at times with certain games. A lot of times the top one is like a 1-word response, and I'm like, I'm looking for the people that they really broke it down. Here's the pros, here's the cons. I hope you've got some time, and then TLDR at the end, which I'm not going to read, but it's there for other people. Those are the reviews I'm looking for. So the ones that I can really, sink my teeth into a little bit.
Yeah, I can appreciate those reviews.
And of course, if they were, I don't want them to be people that got the game for free either. Although I will say there are some people out there that do get the game for free, and I think they give really good unbiased reviews. But I'd rather take that equation out. I want the pain of having to spend the money to be in that review. If they're really bitter, I want that to come out. I want to feel the bitterness in the review, and then I feel bitter, and then I'm like, no, this is my money. No.
They need to have ties to it.
Yeah.
Their own wallet needs to be tied to it.
Yeah, I need the sacrifice to be made, not for me, so I know not to make the sacrifice myself. That's how I need it. So, but there are other social features. I mean, it wasn't that big a deal. I was like, it'll grow and they'll add that stuff. I had no doubt that they would eventually add that stuff. I mean, I don't remember what Steam looked like when it first came out, but I assume it didn't have a lot of the stuff that it has now, because it's just one of those things that develops over time. I mean, I remember when I first learned about Steam in like middle school or high school, I hated it. Like, it was such a hassle to use and log into, and it was just cumbersome and terrible, and I was like, I'm never logging into this. I don't want anything to do with it.
Why would anyone ever use this? Yeah, and I mean, like, now imagine not having it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know
weird.
The other complaint that people have is, they don't want more launchers and stuff like that, which, at a point it kind of gets crazy when you've got Origin and Blizzard has their own, and all these other ones. It does get a little crazy. I think Ubisoft has their own launcher too, if you play The Division and stuff like that. So it does get a little crazy. I'd like everything to be consolidated, but that's just not the world we live in right now.
Yeah, that's just not
fine with that.
How it works. And then, I mean, even if there is one universal one, then you're giving someone a monopoly.
Which we can't have, and that's the whole reason why it's good that Epic even has their game store. It's because we need competition. I mean, it's just better for everybody to have competition, but it's not better when the competition does all kinds of underhanded things. Although this is good for Steam to be like, hey, competition's bad for us, but they're kind of, they're screwing themselves, so it's fine. We'll just sit here and watch.
Yeah.
They're obviously figuring it out, and not in the best way, because, when we were figuring it out, the internet wasn't what it is today, and people couldn't find out all this stuff as easily. But now we've got Reddit and Tumblr and all this kind of stuff. So the moment you accidentally do something you shouldn't be doing, or purposely for this matter, because it sounds like this was intentionally done, the limelight is on it immediately, and everyone's going to know. And you're like, oh shit, we're screwed.
The good old age of the internet, man.
Pretty much.
Slip up, you are caught.
So yeah, I don't like what I'm seeing with that. I haven't bought anything off of Epic. I haven't even launched it since my vacation back in October. Yeah, I haven't even launched the store since then. There's it hasn't really there hasn't been a reason for me to open it. They're still developing, and the exclusive games that they have are games that I personally don't want, like the new Metro, which just looked terrible to me for some reason, so I didn't want it. But
Well, it had a lot of hype around it, though.
yeah, but then I watched gameplay and I watched Twitch streaming. It just looked awful. I don't know what it was, but I just looked at it and went, "This is just bad. I'm not going to spend money on
graphically
this."
bad?
Graphically, it wasn't impressive, but just the gameplay looked really terrible and boring to me.
Well, that's no fun.
Certainly, that kind of ruins the whole point of a game. I would think is to have fun, unless you play games to be incredibly frustrated and you like to see how many controllers you can break within a short window.
I've never broken a controller.
I don't think I have either. Well, not intentionally anyway. I should probably rephrase that.
Well, I don't know if people intentionally are breaking them whenever they throw them.
Yeah,
I don't know if their intent exactly is, I'm going to break this controller.
Well, I don't know. I bet there might be some people out there. You've seen those people that like smash their keyboards and stuff when they rage, like those really hardcore rage videos.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I've definitely had my rage moments. Where I've taken my controller and like hit it, or not chucked it at the floor, but kind of like tossed it away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Or
like,
just
I've had enough of this.
Yeah. Or something happens in League, I'm like, shit! And I like, give my desk a little hammer fist.
Yeah, your desk. But I'm talking about people that like grab the keyboard, rip it out of the computer, and like smash it on the desk, like keys flying everywhere, and then they're like, fucking
Oh, that shit blows my mind.
Yeah, those videos. See, those are the people I'm talking about, where they they put their fist through their monitor and they're like, I was gonna buy a new one anyway off Amazon. Yeah, those people. So, but any other comments on the Epic Store before we move to cloud gaming?
Don't be sneaky little pieces of shit. If you hear this.
Yeah. It's kind of a dick move to be like, hey guys, you caught us, we'll fix it now. That's kind of fucked up.
They didn't even try to cover it up with anything like, what? No. That shouldn't have been happening. I don't know how that happened. What? Like, just
Jerry over there, he's our intern, code analyst. He done fucked up. So we fired Jerry. We're going to fix this tonight. Okay. Jerry's fired. I'll show you a photo. See that? That's Jerry walking to his car with his box. See that?
We didn't even get a martyr.
Yeah. You're out of here, Jerry. See, they could, even if it was fake, even if it was a fake story, I'd be like, yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck Jerry. Get him out of here.
Yeah. Give me something. Give me something to be mad at, or else I'm just going to be mad at you.
Yeah, and I want to be mad at them, but I also want to be kind of mad at Jerry. Like,
I agree. I'm on your side here.
So
let's look up a Jerry. I'm just gonna Google Jerry, and this is who
it's gonna be Jerry from Parks and Rec, probably. That would be my guess.
Or from Rick and Morty. Nope, it's Jerry the Mouse was the first one from Tom and Jerry.
Wow, that's not what I expected. I'm a little disappointed.
I'm actually a little happy about that.
I would have been happy with Jerry from either Rick and Morty or Parks and Rec, honestly.
Or Jerry Orbach.
Who the hell is that?
You don't know Jerry Orbach?
No. Who is that?
Jerry Orbach was an American actor and singer.
In what?
Stuff.
Wow. Okay. Moving on. So our big topic.
No, just keep going.
In like what? Were you gonna say Lost?
No, Law and Order.
Oh, I've never watched that. I don't know what that is.
He's a really old looking dude here.
You gonna send it to me? All right, give me this old man.
Oop, almost sent it in the announcements channel.
I hope someone doesn't just come in like right when I'm saying, just give me the old man. That sounds it's not good.
Give me the old man.
Yeah, I've never seen this guy before, I don't think.
Not even once?
Not to my knowledge. I'll have to ask. I bet Liz knows who this is. She knows this kind of stuff. I'll have to ask her.
She just knows people.
She does. She just randomly is like, oh, that's the guy from that thing and does the thing and the things it does. And I'm like, huh?
That's exactly how I would react to that sentence too.
Well, okay, so not her sentence. It's my interpretation of whatever she says. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I'm a great listener, as you can tell. So anyway, the game development conference happened this week, and I think the biggest announcement was Google Stadia for sure. Did you do any reading or any research on that?
A little bit. Surface level.
Yeah. Cursory research, as they call it.
Is that the technical term for it?
That's the term I'm going to use for it.
Google.
Are you Googling cursory?
Cursory research. Yeah, going rapidly over something without noticing details. Hasty, superficial. A cursory glance at a newspaper article.
Yeah, I think we got it.
Yeah. Hey,
I mean, I watched a couple videos, but nothing crazy. I'm excited for it, honestly. I'm really excited for it.
Why?
Well, we've talked about Shadow about a dozen fucking times at this point, which is obviously cloud gaming, right? And so now we're getting Google Stadia, which is going to be cloud gaming, and very similar to Shadow in the sense of, you know, going from computer to tablet to phone and, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know, same kind of stuff, although they're going to have their own controller, which is pretty neat. I mean, it basically looks like a ripoff of an Xbox controller, but that's fine.
No, it's totally a PlayStation controller, man. Both the analog sticks are down next to each other.
Sure. Okay. We'll go with that. Anyway, I like some of the features where you're going to be able to record immediately to YouTube or stream through it to YouTube. Stuff like that is really cool. The stuff that they're putting on, or, you know, when they show an ad with a game, you'll be able to click play now and like go into the browser and play the game immediately and kind of pick it up. I think there's certain things about it that are really cool. The one thing that was really interesting is I heard rumors that it could cost like as low as $10 a month.
Wow. How much will the equipment itself cost, though?
Well, I mean, you factor in probably I don't think there's going to be like really any equipment other than the actual the controller itself. Other than that, I don't think there's necessarily going to be any equipment because it's just going to be, you know, online gaming through the cloud kind of thing. Obviously, your bandwidth, you know, that's pretty important. So if you need to shell out money for that, then that's a thing. But yeah, $10 a month would be pretty nuts, honestly.
Yeah, if it was $10 a month, I'd invest.
I honestly probably would too. I would just be like, you know what, I'm done upgrading my computer moving forward. I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah, absolutely. At the minimum, I would invest just to try it for $10 a month. What? I just won't get Starbucks 2 days. Like,
yeah,
done.
Now, obviously, that's just speculation because there hasn't really been any pricing information released. But if that ends up holding true, like that's pretty nuts. So then on top of that, I mean, obviously Shadow will be a competitor. Okay. PlayStation Now is considered a competitor because they already have their cloud streaming service, but it's limited to games that they load onto it. So not necessarily games that you own and you want to play through other stuff. So you have to play it through. I may be wrong about this actually, but I believe you have to play it through the PlayStation. And it's just old PS2 and PS3 and some PS4 games that they have in their library, basically. I don't know if Stadia is going to be like, hey, we have a big ass library of games, and if you've purchased it, if it's supported, then you can play it, or hey, you know, we're giving you a virtual machine, log in, play whatever you want. I'm thinking because of the browser functionality to be able to play now from YouTube, it's going to be we've got a big ass library of games on our servers, log in and play them kind of thing. But I'm not 100% sure on that. So I think it may be similar to PlayStation Now, but just obviously other than just PlayStation, you'll be able to play, you know, Xbox and all kinds of different games and stuff like that. So, and then on top of that, which wasn't announced this week, I don't think they talked about this week, but you have Microsoft X Cloud supposed to come out this year too, because Stadia is supposed to come out this year. So the Microsoft X Cloud, which is also a cloud gaming platform similar to Stadia or Shadow, is also supposed to come out sometime this year.
I wonder when. Do you think they'll all come out like right at the same time? Think it'll be something a little closer to the holidays, like that normal fall release time that everything comes out?
My thought would be if xCloud is coming out this year, and they're coming out with a new Xbox this year. And we've talked about the concept of it maybe being a streaming console instead of a full-fledged console. My guess would be it would come out right on time for the new streaming console. That's my guess, at least from the xCloud kind of side of things. As far as Google Stadia, I have no idea. I would assume they would probably release it before the fourth quarter to really get people to buy into it for the holiday season, but I really have no idea.
It's a good guess. Makes sense. Some good educated guesses you got going on there.
Speculation, of course, but the fact that they announced it for this year, I mean, I didn't even know they were working on something like this. So to see that, I was like, wow, this is nuts to have Google enter the gaming scene like this. So, but at the same time, I was like, I kind of feel bad for Shadow now.
I mean, it was only a matter of time.
Well, yes, it was only a matter of time before you get competition. And typically what happens is the competition, like there's usually someone that copies what you do and they just do it better. And that's, that's just how it works. So I feel bad for Shadow, especially not just because of if the pricing, because you pay like $30 or something like that for Shadow. If the pricing ends up being a third of that, that's pretty nuts. That would be amazing. But then on top of that, okay, cool. We're, a Shadow, our company is Shadow. We're a smaller company. And now you've got Google to compete with. Yeah. I don't know how you come out on top of that one. Yeah. Like they already have their own fiber wire internet shit going on all over the place. They've already got hundreds of data servers all around the world. Like, I don't know how you're going to compete with the cost of that. I mean, in a report that I read, they're putting $14 billion of infrastructure into this project.
Holy, 14 billion?
$14 billion is what they're putting into this. Yeah. Billion with a B is how much they're putting into this project. So it is a huge initiative for them. It is something that they're really going hard on. It's not like we got an extra 2 billion, guys. You want to see if maybe we can get this cloud gaming thing off the ground? No, it was like they held a corporate meeting like, you know what, we're doing it and we're doing it big. So buckle the fuck up. Like, here we are.
Yeah, that's wow. I'm really surprised that there's got to be more to it then if they're bumping that much into it. No?
I mean, the infrastructure, honestly, the amount of bandwidth and server and because it's Google, I mean, the amount of people it could potentially buy into this, like they have to be able to hold on to all these people that are playing and streaming their content all at one time through their servers. The amount of data, it would just be mind blowing. I mean, someone already compared it to it's the Netflix for video games is what they anticipate Stadia to be. And I would agree with that. The difference is movies are not nearly as big as video games.
Oh, no. Not at all. I mean, some video games have so many cinematics in them that they have a movie within the game.
Yeah, or they use the cinematic as a way to load the next part of the game because there's so much shit going on.
Yeah. It's really cool. I like it. I hope it's done right so I can use it.
I'm a big advocate of Google. I really like Google and what they do. So I'm really excited, and I could see myself being an early adopter of something like this, roll out and they're like, sign up now to be early beta testing, stuff like that. Like I would really want to jump in on that train and try and do that. So I could definitely see doing something like that. But yeah, if anyone's going to do it well, I could definitely imagine that Google and Microsoft would be the two that could do it.
Definitely.
I don't know how Shadow stays in business after those two get involved in that arena. I don't even know. It's got to be hard. That's what she said. I'm sorry.
I just watched an episode of The Office the other day where Michael is like getting reprimanded for his inappropriate jokes. And he's standing out there and he's like, I am no longer allowed to be your friend. And then James enticing him. He's like, wow, that's got to be really hard, Michael. He's just.
Are you sure you can go all day?
In his face. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God.
I love that so much. All right. So that's all I'm thinking about. So so on top of this, okay, we've got another cloud gaming platform, which I did not know anything about. I don't know if you knew anything about it until this week either. GeForce Now from NVIDIA. which apparently they've been in beta since, or been testing it since 2015 or something like that. The rumor for them is like their cost for this is going to be $10 to $15 a month too for their service, which I was like, whoa, that's a good price. So Mike is our a friend of mine and moderator for our Discord server. He got access to the beta. Like he had been sent an email to do the beta, hadn't done it, asked me if I wanted to do it. I was like, well, yeah, if you're not going to do it, I'm on board. I expected to have the same kind of problems with Shadow that I did with it, but I logged into it through their GeForce Now app. I click in the upper right hand of it, launch Steam, because I don't know if it works outside of Steam, like what other launchers or what else would work, but it works well for Steam. And my understanding is they have on their server all the games loaded that they support. And so long as I've purchased that game and it's supported, I'm able to launch it through their server immediately. So I don't have to install anything. I literally logged in, went to Warframe, did the install, and it was like, nope, you good. And I was like, I'm very confused. Did it break? Did it not install?
Like,
what do I do now? It says
we
play.
need them good.
Do I just click that button? So yeah, that's my understanding is they've already got everything installed. They're just verifying that you have purchased it, which I think is exactly what Stadia is going to do. Like imagine you click the play now for YouTube. I think it's just going to verify that you actually own the game through some means or something. And it's going to be like, nope, you good. Like it's associated with your YouTube account or something like that, or that email. So we know you own it. So yeah, we'll launch it for you from our server immediately kind of thing.
So what about, I guess, how am I trying to say this? What about it made it so much different and better for you than Shadow?
So Shadow, when you log in, there are a lot of settings that are kind of cumbersome and a little overwhelming to look at first. And you log in and it starts up a virtual machine, like a virtual desktop. So you have to log into the desktop, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For this, when I launched it with Steam, it literally changed my background to some background, launched a Steam app, and then and I logged into my Steam and it took me to what exactly looks like for my Steam library, apart from some Call of Duty games in there that I do not own. So I don't own those Call of Duty games, but it was still in there for me to play. I don't understand. Maybe I bought them on PlayStation at some point, and maybe that's what. No, I don't know. I don't understand why they're in there.
Something's connected somewhere.
Yeah. Somehow they know something about me somewhere about something. I don't know. So, but it just launched a single background in this app, and then just launched my Steam library, and I just clicked play, and that was it. It was so simple to use, and it worked immediately with my controller. It would work with Bluetooth or USB, which I have mine plugged into USB on the laptop, and it worked immediately, which Shadow did not. I did do the USB over IP thing, and it basically broke the game, and sensitivities went psychotic, and it was just a pain in the ass. So it worked. I mean, it was just so simple to use, and it worked really, really well. The other thing I really liked is when you're playing it, because obviously it's over the internet, especially when you're playing something like Warframe, which is an online game. So I'm literally pinging a server to ping another server. So I'm like, I'm using your server, NVIDIA, to ping the Warframe server to get their data about the game to send back to you to then send to me. So I'm like double down on the server issue here, So I'm expecting latency to be a complete pain in the ass. I'm expecting some very noticeable lag, like, turning and stuff like that, to just be atrociously bad, but it wasn't. I actually didn't notice it to be any different than if I was playing it on my laptop locally. And the one thing that I really enjoyed is when the packets, like let's say the internet gets really bad all of a sudden, or, the quality drops because I move the laptop around the house or something like that. It instantly downgrades the resolution of the game so it doesn't cause performance issues. So it immediately would be like, oh, you're playing 1080p? No, you're 720 because we have packet loss. And so it's like high packet loss. And so it downgrades it immediately. So there's no performance loss. And then when the connection settles, then it moves it back up.
That's really nice. I like the sound of that. Oh, I was going to ask if you had noticed any kind of like input lag or anything like that. You should try some kind of online competitive game and see if you feel any kind of lag with that.
Yeah, I would have to, let me check their supported list and see what else they have that might be around that, more of that nature. Because I would definitely think I would think the connection for a really competitive online shooter would probably not be good enough, but I think that's probably going to be an issue with basically every cloud streaming service.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reviews that I had watched about Shadow had pointed out that I think they were trying to play Apex on it, and they were noticing that kind of rubber banding a lot
Mm-hmm.
more often through there than whenever they were just directly connecting to it.
Yeah, I would say that I think cloud gaming as a whole is going to be one of those things. It's like if you're looking to play really competitive games, even like stuff like League of Legends and stuff, I would say, maybe I think League could probably work. But if you're playing high level League, I don't think it's going to work for you. Or if you're playing first person shooters, I just think it's going to be too. I think the difference is going to be infuriating. It's going to be milliseconds probably, but it's going to be too much for people that are really into like competitive shooters and things. For
Yeah,
everything
at the high end, it'll
else,
probably make a maybe not a big difference, but you'll probably be able to feel a difference at like a high end of play. But I don't think it
yeah.
will.
And like for Warframe, I haven't seen any issues with performance. Personally, the visuals look great, and the people I play with haven't said anything either. I've asked them like, "Hey, does it look like my character's rubber banding all across the screen, or like it's bonkers?" Basically, is what I want to know because I'm kind of curious what they're seeing, and they're like, "No, it's fine. Like you're right there. I see you running around. You're casting stuff. It's cool."
Hmm. So, which one do you think is going to be the most successful?
Out of the four, I mean, it will exclude PlayStation Now out of this, but out of the four,
Mm-hmm.
oh geez, I
I would
really
say Google.
don't know. Yeah, I really don't know, honestly. I'm going to say Google or Microsoft. Microsoft has a little bit of an advantage because they already have gaming servers and they've been in the gaming realm for a long period of time. So when it comes to like latency and contracts for certain games and exclusive deals and things like that, like I feel like they have a lot of power over that. So they might have a little bit of advantage in that realm. Google has probably a lot of buying power if they wanted to get exclusive deals or they wanted to get games supported on their servers. I think they'd be just about every developer would jump at them and be like, yeah, we want to be on the Google platform hands down.
Yeah, I agree.
From a server technology, they definitely have the knowledge, but they don't have a gaming structure or anything that they've done in the past. So probably a learning curve there for them a little bit. Shadow will probably die.
You think?
I don't know. I mean, it depends. So Shadow, I mean, the one thing it has going for it right now that the others don't seem to have is that it's a virtual machine. So if you're doing other stuff like rendering projects or photo editing on a machine that's weaker or that's weaker than what they're able to offer you on their side, then there's still benefit. So I think their market, maybe they won't die, but I think their customer base will shrink because it's going to be people that like, no, I just want it for games. I don't need to put Photoshop. I don't need to do Premiere editing. I don't need to do all this other stuff. I literally just want to play video games on hardware that I don't want to buy.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess through the other ones, it sounds like you are limited on what games it supports, whereas with Shadow, you can play whatever game.
Yes, so that is the other thing too. Good point. Is that Shadow? So long as you physically own the game, you log into Steam, you can play anything, that kind of thing. So yeah, no big deal there. Whereas yeah, like you said, the other one, since it seems that it's on their server side, the supporting list is a little worrisome. The other thing I'm kind of worried about is how quick are big AAA titles going to be supported when they first come out? Like, are they going to be day of, or are you going to have to wait 6 weeks?
They'd probably be day of.
I would hope they would be day of, but
Yeah,
if they
maybe not right
weren't,
away. Like maybe not right whenever these devices kick off, but I would assume very quickly they would.
yeah. And one thing that was interesting is people were comparing it to PlayStation Now, which I mentioned. PlayStation Now, you don't own those games. Like those are games in the PlayStation library that are old and some newer ones, but they load them in and then you have access to play them and do whatever you want. And so when they compared Google Stadia to that made me think, so Google's just going to have a massive library of games and I don't have to personally buy the individual game to play it. I just have to pay the subscription for Google to log in and play the game. If they went that route and they could get newer AAA games. Like if let's say hypothetically that's what they do, and they get new AAA games within like 2 to 3 weeks just because of their size and their buying power and their Google. I would easily pay like $50 a month for something like that because I no longer have to buy the games physically to play them, and I can play any game in the library when I log in. Like that would be really appealing to me.
I agree.
I don't know if that's the case. Like I don't know if that's how it's going to happen, but that would be really cool because I would be like, hey, that's especially on months where there's like 2-3 games that I would really want to play, and I'm like, that's $180 or something I'd have to shell out. Now I just have to shell out $50 for that month, and I get to play them all. Problem is, I don't know how developers would make any money out of that. So.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, there's no money unless no.
Well, see, that's the other thing. It's kind of like, I would almost argue it's like a Spotify, but for gaming. But at the same, because Spotify doesn't really reimburse particularly well for content creators, right?
It's all about volume, yeah.
It is all about volume. So I wonder, but then I'm thinking like, well, music is a fraction of the cost of a video game. So,
Yeah, so
I don't know.
would it be like anytime someone boots this game up, you get X amount? Anytime someone puts this amount of time into the game, you get X amount?
So I think if that was the case, okay, and it comes down to a system of the more people play it and the longer they play it, the more you get reimbursed.
Mm-hmm.
For that game session, then I think our gaming culture would move from like, hit hard, hit fast, loot box, all to hell kind of thing to, okay, we need quality content that people literally engage in and want to engage in often. So I think it would shift a little bit to our games need to be quality, not we need many of them and we need to put loot boxes in it and see what happens.
I agree. We would definitely get a lot less shit games, I think. I think developer stuff would take a lot more time on them and not just push the game out as quick as they can because they want to make sure they're putting out a product that people are going to spend a lot of time on at that point.
Would be my hope. Yeah. Or the other option, I suppose, would be they just take advantage of really disgusting psychological gambling tactics to keep you addicted to their games.
Hey, hit me up. Let's go. I'll fall victim to that.
I mean, that's what loot boxes are now, honestly.
Yeah, true. And which is why I don't buy any because I will fall down that rabbit hole.
So, coming from your perspective, Pat, since you have an aging computer where you're now at a point where there's a game that's out that looks really damn good, but you're kind of concerned that your computer hardware may not be able to do it. I mean, how do you feel about the cloud gaming coming and about to become a big reality this year potentially?
I really like the idea of it, especially if the only things I'd eventually have to upgrade on my computer were maybe little things at a time, like maybe occasionally get a better processor, things like that, upgrade RAM, whatever, but I wouldn't have to worry about shelling out a couple $100 for a new graphics card. Like that is awesome. And if I was always able to play, maybe not always play like ultra settings, the newest game, but play them all at least at like 1080p,
right?
I'd be very happy with it because at the moment, as I am now, I can play just about any game at 1080p that I have. But again, with Devil May Cry, if I'm going to invest into that, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play it at 1080. So I really like the idea of not having to worry.
Yeah, and I think playing at Ultra 1080p is very simple to do these days. I mean, 1070 or something, you're fine basically. So I that's the only thing that's kind of like the big question lingering for a lot of this stuff is like with Shadow, we know the hardware, and so we know the capability, even though if it's marketed a little incorrectly, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Google Stadia, no idea what the hardware looks like. Microsoft xCloud, no idea. And then GeForce Now, I can't find any reference as to what hardware they're running for the beta. So what kind of video card or anything you're getting. And since it's not a virtual machine, it's not like you can just log in and look yourself because you're not getting access to that type of thing. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know what it looks like. I mean, the visuals look great on Warframe, but Warframe is not a particularly demanding game, I would say. I mean, I get like 400 frames a second.
Yeah, but you got a pretty
2K resolution. Yeah, I was gonna say like I kind of want to compare it with but yeah, I mean my rig is a little overkill, I think. So probably not the best comparison, but
well, I mean with with Shadow, it's like here you have here's the components, like you're saying. Here's what we're working with, so you know what you can and can't do with it. But then with these other ones, is it going to be like everything's going to be loaded up onto our end and then just being streamed right to you, or is it like we're going to be sending you the data bits of the game as you play through, and your system's going to be loading it up?
So it definitely takes the pressure off the computer when I play, at least for GeForce Now. As far as the other two, I can't say, but for GeForce Now, I mean, my processor was at 3%, and my video card was at I don't know. I don't even think it was doing anything. So it's not really running because it's just running the window, which everything is then being sent to. So it's not using any of the hardware in my computer at all, which I definitely appreciated, because when I play Warframe on that laptop, it's about to catch fire. It's about to burst into flames. Like I tend to play it on the bed, and then when I quit and I move the laptop off the bed, like Houdini runs over, like that's my spot. Like that's where I want to be because it's so warm from the laptop.
I want in that heat. Let's go. Well,
it's going to be an interesting year. And I think for you, like, yeah, I would hold off on upgrading anything right now, because it could be very well by the end of the year that you have like a $10 subscription that plays games better than your current system, and you don't have to do anything at all.
Yeah, which would be really great. But at the same time, if we're being honest, I would kind of miss being like, yeah, look at my rig here. Look what she can do, you know?
That is the one thing I was thinking about earlier this week is, you know, is it going to be 10 years from now, having a physically built, you know, custom PC, is that going to be a thing of the past with stuff like this? Is it going to be, I mean, it's kind of niche in a way now. I mean, you don't see a ton of people who do it, but is it going to become even more of a, you know, a small market of people that really take pride in building their own computers?
Yeah.
I can hear the sadness.
It is a little bit of a bummer, man. I feel it's going to eventually become like the mechanical keyboard community.
It's going to be one of the, it's going to be one of those things where you put all this money into this machine, and then you're like, well, I got to pay $10 a month to stream on this better hardware that I can't physically buy because they have amazing buying power as a company. And so I built this amazing rig to run this nice window and watch my computer idle at 10% use.
But would it drive the prices of components down?
I don't know. I would, logic, I mean, just economics kind of suggest yes, because, you know, demand would go down. So it kind of, so maybe? I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know. So, I mean, it might get cheaper to build a custom computer, but I don't know. I don't know what to think. I mean, I'm excited to see what happens with it this year. I'm excited that's coming out this year. Like, just the fact that they were like,
I'm so burdened by it.
It's a heavy. Well, that's because I'm sitting here literally staring at my 2080 Ti in the case, just thinking about the money I put on that. I'm like, I don't know.
I don't want to part ways yet.
Because, but at the same time, I'm like, I really don't want to have to buy another one of these. I don't want to have to do
you shouldn't have to for quite a while. Like
a year, you know?
Yeah, see, it's you. You're the problem, Chris.
Yeah,
it's you being you.
I accept this. I accept. The
problem
is me.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Not the, well, I mean, it depends on, I don't know.
Look, man, you like to have the top of the line stuff whenever you can get it. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you know, I put the money down for my roll-up TV last week, so looking forward to that.
Get away from me. I'll never, no. I'm coming down there and I'm breaking it.
You're going to set stuff on it and then try and roll it up?
Yep.
Or unroll it, I should say.
Yeah, I will come with a hand crank so we can hook that bad boy up.
Oh, too. Yeah, that's right. That's what we were going to do. Individually crank it. That's funny.
Yep.
But no, I'm excited to see what it does this year, and just kind of the impact it has. It's going to be an interesting year. What's going to happen with... It makes me wonder what will happen with game consoles.
Ooh.
Because if Google... Because you kind of mentioned the price of hardware, right, or equipment, suggesting that there might be more than just the controller side of things for the Stadia. So what if it comes out with a stream box very similar to what Shadow did? That thing was like, what, under $100 or something like that, 120 maybe. Very, very cheap relative to.
Yeah, it was like
to
I think it was
consoles.
like 120, 150.
So then the conversation then becomes, okay, so if Google rolls out with like a $99 box that allows you to access and do what you want to do, like what happens to consoles? I mean, are people still going to
It's a
pay?
good
I mean, there are
question.
definitely going to be people that are going to pay the $400 or $500 for consoles just to play locally, because obviously if their internet is not capable of doing it, or
Yeah.
you're going places where you can't play it because the internet's terrible. But I would imagine that would probably have a bit of an impact on that market a little bit for people that have really good high quality internet and they're not really worried about localization problems. I don't know.
Interesting, Christopher.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that until right now. But then again, I mean, we also talked about Sony potentially doing, I mean, we talked about Xbox maybe doing a stream console, and Sony, the rumors are that they may very well be doing the same thing. So everybody may be getting on the same page all at the same time.
That'd be cool. Let's just do away with exclusives.
No, I want Epic Store to have a couple more. You know, why not?
Look, I just want to be able to play. No, all right, here. If you could do away with exclusives, or do away with like the no support for cross-platform gaming.
It would be exclusives all day for me, because I mean, I don't care about the cross-platform stuff, because it has to be multiplayer for that. Well, see, that's the thing. It's like it has to be multiplayer, and so many of the games I play are single player typically. So it's like it's an individual experience. So I don't care if I could play with other people. I would rather that other people be able to experience the games that come out that are, you know, across, you know, not on their console initially, things like that.
No, I get it, Chris. I get it. You don't want to play. Don't want to play games. That's fine. You're just scared that I'll whoop that ass in Injustice 2.
Injustice 2, really?
Yeah.
That's what you think I'm worried about?
Never forget.
Never forget what? What happened?
That I told you I'd beat your ass in it.
Oh. You don't want me to forget that now, is what you're saying.
I'm just saying I will never forget it.
Okay.
So if there's ever a moment...
Don't you have it for Steam, though? Don't you have it for... Oh, I think I got it for PS4.
I have the first one on Steam.
I think I have both on PS4. Well, I think I bought the disc for the second one, and I have the original one on PS4, so yeah. Because I was thinking, I was like, if we both have it on Steam, why haven't we already done this?
Let's just load it up right now.
I'll get my fight stick out of the closet right now. Like, I'm ready.
Fight stick. I'll mouse and keyboard it. No, I won't. That'd be terrible.
I actually want to see that now. I would like to see that. Please load it up and mouse and keyboard it and send me a Snapchat.
Yo, how deep of a depression would you fall into if I beat you mouse and keyboard?
We would never talk about it, like, because we wouldn't be friends anymore. And this podcast would die in a single day.
It's time for me to start my training.
And I guess with that, we end this episode as Pat will go train on Injustice.
The update's starting now.
Yeah. But, oh, no. All right, Pat, take us out of this episode.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the episode where we talked about some stuff and then some other things. You got an opinion that you want to share with us? Let us know. We'd love to hear it in the Discord. Chris, it's been a while since you plugged the Discord, so let me take care of that.
And the website, for that
matter.
And
on the website, check that out if you haven't. We would actually really appreciate it if you check that out and give us any feedback on it. That'd be cool. Anyways, guys, thanks again. Love yourself. Love me. Have a good week.